Hello there, anyone and everyone over the internet. My name is Lionel, and today we're doing a very different stream. No video game today. Today we're going to be doing a little bit of not programming, not today. Today we're going to be doing what some would call a little game design. And no, not in the programming aspect, not today. Today we're going to be in the actual design aspect. We're going to be, here we go, this should be, there we go, much better. We're gonna be in the technical, not so technical, not so. Just go with the flow. Come on, it'll be fine. I was just talking about my life, and I was talking about how I've been adjusting very well to my current university, and I've never been happier with my education, because previously I had spent 6 years, 4 years pursuing a computer engineering degree, which then turned into an additional year and a half of software engineering, which I had just allowed to become an absolute spiral of depression and anxiety. Not only because of the untreated ADHD, there was just like a whole bunch of situations that I had let spiral out of control because I didn't realize I had felt so alone and distant, studying across the island, away from my friends, away from my family, isolated and struggling. It was rough. It was absolutely rough. But ever since I made the jump, I actually started my education like again, you could say, because even though I did get a lot of my credits, were transferred from one university to the other. There was a lot. There was a lot that I still had to. I think I got like 32 credits approved, 33 maybe, and the bachelor's itself is 132 credits, so that's still like 100 credits unaccounted for. That's several semesters. But since it was a trimester system, I wasn't too worried because I felt like I was gonna blaze through it. And a year later, it has been 1 year. I really feel like I've been blazing through it. I essentially graduate by the end of this next year. Not this next year, but by the end of this year. Hey, how's it going, Psyker? I'm just regaling no one in particular about the story of my education so far. Alright, fine, I'll shut up and get to work. Essentially, today's focus, today's mission, whether you choose or do not choose to accept it, is I'm gonna be getting started on some of the game design documents of the projects I want to work on. The current document you are observing belongs to a project I worked on in my university the previous year, summer of last year to be specific, like Wednesday 26th apparently, very specifically. Damn. Anyways, and essentially this game design document was part of a class that I think was called Design Concepts of Video Games, where we were taught about the actual like design process of making a video game. What it like start to finish, hatching a game idea, like giving that idea a shape, giving it more of a structure, and actually fleshing it out to the point where it is ready to be developed and pursued as an actual project. And this design document that I prepared as my final project for that class is fleshed out enough where this is an actual project that could be pursued. Oh, no music. Let's get more music on here. Let's get some Chillcraft. Why not? So, essentially, and even though I have,
yeah, this is big brain time.
You bet it is. Welcome, Sidekicker. I'm glad to have you here. Essentially, even though I have what is a design document ready to go, and for those of you who may or may not be know, yeah, we're always using our brain, Sidekicker. When have I ever streamed and not been using 100% of my intellectual capacity? Do not answer that question. But, oh, please, this is a matter of intellect. Wow, water is so good. I hope you guys have been drinking some. Treat yourself. Anyways, so as I was saying, even I have this game design document right here, raring to go, and you're like, dude, then why just start developing that game? I've realized this is more educational, right? Oh, see, I can teach you some stuff. Okay, before I start talking about this game design document, for those of you who may or may not know, game design documents are essentially a video game's Bible. Every game that ever exists should have a game design document. That is a document, whether it be a text file, a written book file, like anything. It is a document, whether it be virtual or physical, that entails every detail of how a video game is going to be developed. And here I'll show you for an example. This is the cover page of my like game design document template, where it tells you like the working title for the video game, it tells you the version of the document, it tells you the person who's worked on it, like the team working on it, etc., etc. This is like for a university page, but university project, but essentially main details of the team working on it and the game you're working on. That's the main page, because then afterwards you've got all this. Yeah, I've got an index. This is a professional thing. So essentially, after the main page, you've got your table of contents, because the contents of this table are all the details, all the general structures that you want your game to follow. Because why have a game design document? Well, the thing is, if you start developing a video game just based off an idea, let's say you want to make a game that's about cowboys in space, for example, just example. You're like, okay, I have an idea about cowboys in space, and you don't write it down. You're like, whatever, I won't forget my video game idea. So let's say you want to start working on your game about cowboys in space. Okay, so you gotta think of a title. You'll think about it later, maybe. Okay, sure. Then let's say you start working on the characters of your game, and you've got the cowboy Scrimble McGee. That's gonna be your protagonist. Scrimble McGee is your protagonist. What's Scrimble McGee gonna look like? How big is his hat gonna be? Does he have boots? What color are his boots? All these details of a character, you have to think of this for every single character that you have in your game. Every single detail of a location. Oh, the first level is going to be about this, and the second level, the third level, fourth level. Then what's the plot about your space cowboy game? Okay, and what is the genre of your space cowboy game? What's the art style going to be like? What's the music going to be like? These are things that you have to keep in mind, and you have to think of and keep track of throughout the entire development process of a video game. You can't just like jump into a game, start designing, and not keep track of what you've been doing. Because let's say you put pause on, okay, I'm not going to keep working on Scrimble McGee. Let me pause on Scrimble and let me start working on the first level concept. But then once you finish that first level concept and you go back to Scrimble McGee, you're like, okay, wait a minute. What was my idea for this guy? And then that's only if you're working as one single person on a video game, which is not impossible. Stardew Valley was made by one single person, but I digress. If you're working with multiple people, you have a team working on a game. Let's say you're the lead designer, you're the one who had the idea and you want to direct people. How are you going to make sure, because you have multiple people working on different aspects of the game at the same time? You can have someone programming it, you can have someone designing the characters, someone designing the levels, someone designing the backgrounds. All these things happen at the same time, and how are you going to make sure that everyone is following the same idea? Because when you have multiple people working on a project, you need to have some sort of guide. Well, that's where the game design document really comes in. The point of the document is to have a Bible that any person who's working on the video game can refer to whenever they have doubts, whenever they don't have doubts and they just want to pick up on where they're going, or if they're working on a new part of the game. Let's say I was in charge of designing levels, but I'm done with the levels. Now I'm going to help the character designer finish the characters. All right, how do I know what is the general color palette that the characters have been applied to? How do I know what's the idea behind a certain character, because usually when character designs tend to reflect something about their personality. How do I know what personality this character I'm going to design is supposed to entail? These are the things, the details that you put into a game design document. And thus, that is what we were doing. You really should not start working on a video game without having some sort of written idea for what you want. Let's say it's the most simple of concepts. So I want a game where you play as a snake and you gotta make your way through a garden maze, and that's it. That's the whole game. You're like, oh, I don't need a game design document for that. No, not necessarily. You don't really need a game design document for a really simple game, but you should still have something. You should still, on a piece of paper, have game about snake that makes it through garden maze. Because let's say halfway through programming that your motivation dies down, your passion dies down, and so you move on to something else, and then 5 months later, you're like, oh, you know what? Let me finish my snake garden game. But then you go back and you're halfway through the code, and you're like, wait a minute. So the code has a snake and it has a garden, but what was I supposed to do? Like, what was I going for? Where did I leave off? All these sort of little details. This is why you need to have some sort of organization, because it is not likely, it is very not probable to work on a large scale project and just have it all like in your mind, unless you're like some sort of freaking genius. And you know what? I have glimpses. I have my moments of genius. I am not a genius. I'm not as much as I like to parade myself around as some sort of intellectual. I really am not. Yeah. I hope you guys have been having a good week so far. I've basically just caught you up on what we are going to be doing today. And yeah. So yeah, that's what we're going to be doing. Okay, so to give you like an overhead of what this game design document you're looking at here is about, Crab Wants Home. Essentially, one of the ideas I had was for, and actually let me show you. I could explain to you my idea for the game, which is, listen, I want like an arcade-like game about a crab catching some coconuts and you get points. Or I could go visit my table of contents like, hey, I want to talk to someone about my general vision. All right, let's do this. The general vision. The gameplay for Coconut Crab Wants Home revolves around the player moving Crab from side to side within the boundaries of the screen and extending its claws to intercept falling objects. Crab lives on the beach of a beautiful exotic island, spending their days happily breaking and bouncing falling coconuts. One day, a boat full of greedy humans discovers the island and they begin harming the ecosystem for profit. The player must venture Crab through the island's exotic biomes and defend the native critters as they go, in hopes of using allies and power-ups to somehow drive off the greedy humans once and for all. That's it. That's like the general vision of my game. And I could have tried and explained that to you from memory, or I could have just visited this page, the third page of my game design document, and read you the exact vision that I had, the exact general vision that I had read, that I produced for the game. And you're wondering, okay, then what kind of a platform would this kind of game be produced for? I think it'd be a good game for the Nintendo Switch. It's a nice, simple game. It wouldn't be anything super complicated. It's not like a massive branching story. It's not like a really cinematic experience like God of War. It's just like a simple adventure arcade game about a little crabby. And the gameplay would be simple enough where you could just like play it on the go. That's why I think of it as more like an action arcade kind of thing. The genre selection was based on the desire to make a 2D game where you control a crab that has the ability to extend its claws to stop or redirect falling objects in order to protect itself and its home. The objective of the game requires increasing hand-eye coordination and motor skills, since intercepting the objects grants points, and the speed of the falling objects increases in tandem with the player's score. It's that simple. And something you got to keep in mind when you're designing a game is, whenever you design any sort of mechanic, you've got to understand and you've got to really know why you're implementing that mechanic in the first place. Because, for example, if I want to make a game, Crab Wants Home, about a game where you control a crab side to side to catch objects as they fall, what would the point of catching the objects be? Okay, you do it for points. All right, cool. But do I really have to worry about catching every single object? Like, if there's no consequences for letting the objects fall, all I should really worry about is just not really moving and just catching them as they go. Well, here's the thing. Okay, so you add the danger. If an object falls on the crab, it's game over. Okay, so there's a little bit of incentive to move, but what incentive do I have to not just avoid the coconuts forever and not catch a single one? Because if I catch more, the game's gonna get harder. Well, here's the thing. You add more danger, you add more difficulty. Well, listen, every coconut or like every object you do not catch, that you fail to catch, affects the environment in some way. Like, let's say you let a coconut fall to the ground, it breaks and it releases a, I don't know, a bramble. Or it just falls and lodges itself in the ground, and now, since it's just a 2D side-to-side scrolling, you drop that coconut, now you can't move past that coconut. It's like, it's an obstacle that's keeping you in place. It's restricting your movement, and the more restricted your movement is, the more likely a coconut's going to land on you, and it's going to cause a game over. So this is the kind of thing you got to think about when you're designing a game. You got to think about what mechanics you want, why do you want them? Because you could just think of a fun mechanic and you're like, oh, I just want the player to catch falling coconuts because it seems fun. And you know what? That's valid. Because fun is maybe, very possibly, the main factor behind most video games. I'm being really nitpicky about the camera position. I can do this. Oh, this seems fine. This seems perfect. So, you'd be like, oh, it just sounds like a fun idea. It just sounds fun. And you know what? That's understandable. But you gotta keep in mind just how many mechanics you implement and why you're implementing them. Because if you just implement things because they seem fun, they might not actually end up being fun, or they might not actually end up being useful towards the idea that you had for the game. There's just a lot of things you gotta keep in mind. And having a game design document is really helpful for organizing those ideas, especially for someone like me who has ADHD and loves to switch from idea to idea to idea very quickly. But let's say, all right, so sure, you're pretty good at organizing your ideas. Really, why else would I want a game design document? Well, here's the thing. So this template that I'm using also has includes a market analysis. Because let's face it, let's say you want to make a battle royale shooter because you had like a really fun idea for a battle royale shooter. Here's the thing. Before you start creating that battle royale shooter, you need to do a market analysis to know whether or not it's worth it to work on shooters at the moment. You need to compare to similar games in the market to see just how well they've been received. Is it if you find some really famous games, really popular, really well received, then maybe it's not so niche and maybe it's an easy market to get into. But another question you have to ask yourself is, okay, sure, there's some famous games in this genre. This is a pretty simple market to get into. However, how saturated is the market? Because, for example, I will tell you right now, arena shooters, like battle royales, I'm fairly certain the market has been very saturated for a long time. New battle royale shooters that have shown up and appeared have not been like nearly as famous as the ones that have been around for a few years. Like, I'll give you, for example, Fortnite. Fortnite is still kicking, king of the royale shooters, apparently. But you know what isn't kicking? Free Fire. I think that's what it's called, right? Free Fire? Is that what it was called? What was the one? What? Is it Skylink Free Fire? What the hell? I cannot remember. Skylink is a grand aerial shooter that aims to be the... No, not this one. I don't remember what it's called. But wasn't there like a battle royale shooter that was produced by like Dr. Disrespect or something. Let's see, Dr. Disrespect video game. Dead Drop. What the hell happened to Dead Drop? Rick is Dead Drop. Was that it? Was that the one I was thinking of? Dead Drop. Nope, it's not even here. I have no idea what Dead Drop. I have no idea. I don't even know if that game's still around, but I just know there was like one freaking game recently that was some sort of arena shooter that was gonna be like really fun because oh, the environment is completely destructible. Oh, and you have different classes. Like depending on how you customize your character, that influences the abilities and traits you can use. And the ideas and like all those ideas that I mentioned are fun. They seem fun. They sound cool. The problem being, if you don't do a market study, you won't realize that the market's a little saturated on battle royale shooters and people are probably not that likely to give it a chance. Oh, but it's free to play. Oh, well, here's the thing. Free to play is a really tricky territory when it comes to video games. Because you'd think, oh, since it's free, people have no reason not to try it. They'll download it. Of course they'll try it. The thing is, when someone decides to try a free-to-play game, there is a lot less initial investment into that game. The only thing, if someone decides to try a free-to-play game, the only thing that is really like pushing them to try it is their interest for the game. If anything of a free-to-play game does not really align with the player's interests, or if they have any sort of a bad time, there is nothing besides that keeping them there. Because what did they pay? What did they commit to the experience? Not a single cent. Free-to-play games, you don't usually buy something the moment you get the game, okay? Usually you have to have some sort of investment. You have to really realize you love the game before you start buying stuff. That's usually at least how I go about free-to-play games. So if the game doesn't really hook someone right off the bat, that's it. People are dropping your game. They might have tried it once and never played it ever again. Whereas a game with a price tag, people are a lot more hesitant to buy. It's a lot harder to get into. But once they've gotten into it, it's usually because they've taken more of a time to make an informed decision, which is likely to lead to them enjoying their experience more because they took their time and figured out, okay, wait, this is something I'm going to enjoy before I dive into it. And not only that, let's say initially they don't really like the game. Let's say, oh man, this game isn't exactly what I thought it was going to be. But they paid for it. So they have one of two choices. They immediately refund it on Steam because that's usually how it goes. You have up to like 2 hours. Or they try to stick it out. They're like, you know what? I paid $30 for the game. I paid $20 for the game, $40 for the game, maybe $60 if it's a AAA game, I guess. AAA studios want to push $70 now, but no. Ugh. We'll see how it goes. We'll see how that goes. That's a conversation. That's like a completely different conversation. So, long story short, you gotta really, when if you're going to decide to develop a video game, it's a lot harder and a lot easier than most people think. It's a double-edged sword. Because we live in the year of our Lord 2024, and there have never been more tools. There has never been a wider variety, availability, accessibility of tools to produce video games. Right now, anyone can make a game. Anyone with access to a computer can make a game. There is such a wide array of platforms, educational and like technical platforms, that you can use to learn what you need to do and that you can use to make what you need to do. For example, I could talk to you about the I could talk to you about the platforms that I know of. For example, you've got Godot. Godot is an open source video game engine that is usually coded with C sharp, but I'm fairly certain it can also make use of C++ and a Godot coding language that it has. It's absolutely free. It's open source, so it's developed by the community surrounding it. So that means the more support it has, like the more people use it, the more support it's gonna have. Anyone can get into it. I've heard it's apparently excellent for developing two-dimensional games. I've heard quite a few indie games have used Godot for developing, but you know what? Maybe you don't want to use Godot. Maybe you want to use Unreal Engine because you've seen some really cool. You've seen The Mandalorian, and The Mandalorian, some of the scene work was done with Unreal Engine. Or maybe not even that. Maybe you've just seen some really cool videos about the graphics of Unreal Engine on YouTube and you want to make that too. Well, Unreal Engine is completely free to pick up. It's completely free to produce video games with. And the only thing the license for Unreal Engine includes is that if your game makes like over $1 million or something, then you have to give some royalties to Epic Games. And you know what? I think if your video game has made $1 million, your indie game has produced $1 million, I don't think you're gonna care about giving Epic Games a few royalties for letting you use their absolutely cracked game engine. You know what? Maybe you don't want that either. Dude, the list of game engines is absurdly long. I think I have a resource. I think one of my bookmarks is a resource for, here we go, game dev resources. A list. A list of freaking assets, of regular assets, technical assets, educational assets, anything you could need. Where was the one about game engines? Game engines. I wanted to show, because I had seen a list of game engines that was absolutely insane. Like ridiculously insane. It's okay. I won't worry too hard about it. But anyways, the freaking tools have never been more accessible. So yeah. Thanks for listening to my TED Talk about why you should make a game design and why I want you to get into game design. No. I was just saying about how really, and this all started with me talking about my college experience. And the thing is, I don't know, I've just been so happy because I do enjoy programming. I've noticed I love to program because I see it as let's put some dark mode on here. I see it as like a puzzle sort. Whenever I have to program something, whenever I have to code something like a project, a homework assignment, anything of that sort, I see it as a puzzle that someone is asking me to solve. And I find it so fun. I find it so satisfying to just use the Lego pieces that are the bits and pieces, the lines of code. Oh, this if statement, this for loop. I could use this variable. I could just, maybe I'll just use a pointer. Like all these little Lego pieces that I can combine and mix and match to solve absolutely intricate, insanely ridiculous like problems. And not even just problems. I could just use it to produce ideas that have not yet been given flesh and bones and skin. And it's that kind of thing that I just find absolutely fascinating. Because computers are powerful. And we often use them for morally ambiguous purposes. But besides using them for morally ambiguous and slightly nefarious purposes, they're good. You know what? Let's move on. Let's go to Metroid and Chill. We haven't done Metroid and Chill. Here we go. Beautiful. But yeah, long story short, game design is fun. Programming is fun to me. Because programming is a lot of lines of code, A lot of reading, a lot of sitting at a computer all day and looking at words and words and words on a screen and producing those words. And if you're not a huge fan of that, then coding might not just be for you. But I really have found something that I find fascinating and I enjoy. Alright, so I hope you're doing good. I hope you guys are having a good week. Today, what I really want to get started on is a game design document for a game that okay, so you guys have had to have heard of Plants vs. Zombies. There is no way you use the internet and you don't know what Plants vs. Zombies is. You've played Plants vs. Zombies at some point, and if not, you've seen it at some point. Plants vs. Zombies, the tower defense game, where you play as a homeowner who needs to defend his home from zombies by using some very, very weird plants. I have always loved the tower defense format Plants vs. Zombies has going for it. It's just like, usually tower defense games have some sort of health, like the tower you're defending has some sort of health pool, and the enemies who attack it have some sort of way to damage it in different terms of speeds and forms. But Plants vs. Zombies is a relatively unique tower defense game, whereas, listen, you've only got like one line of defense beyond the tools at your disposal, which are the plants. You've only got one line of defense between you and the zombies, and that's the lawnmowers. A lawnmower is gone, that's it. One zombie, any zombie, makes it to your house, it's game over. And that has a simplicity to it. Listen, the zombie cannot make it to your house, or you lose. Good day, that's it. Sometimes, other tower defense games, you have someone, one of the enemies makes it to your tower, they make it to your lawn, they make it to your center or whatever, past your defenses, and then they start harming your tower. Oh, you get a chance to fix your mistake, perhaps recover and move on. There's something about the simplicity and finality of one single zombie penetrating your defenses and it's game over. There's something I love about the concept of Plants vs. Zombies that I feel like, wow, I want to play more Plants vs. Zombies. And then you realize there's like no more Plants vs. Zombies. After Plants vs. Zombies 1, which was like an absolute iconic, genre-defining banger, you've got Plants vs. Zombies 2. And Plants vs. Zombies 2 was a good game. I'm not saying it's bad. It's a good game. It expands upon the first game because it has a lot more locations. It adds a lot more locations. It adds a lot more plants. The locations affect how you can plant those plants. The plants give you more variety for defending your lawn. You've got a lot, hell, dude, a huge increase, a huge amount of zombies. That's more variation and problems that you have to work to resolve and overcome as a gamer. That's the fun of the game, figuring out how to defend. No, Madison, how you do this? You freaking absolute thief. Good to have you here, girl. I'm just rambling about idiocies. No, seriously. I hope you're doing good. Do you work? Oh, wait, what time? Is it 6:56 p.m. for you? That's right. You had mentioned this, but I didn't internalize it. Daylight savings is over. It's so over. Ah! And by over, I mean it ended. This year's daylight savings is over. So you guys are an hour closer to me. I'm not an hour closer to you because I've been on the same time. You are the ones that have changed. My time has not changed. I hope it's been in a good shift. I hope it wasn't like jarring to lose an hour of sleep or something. Because I've seen memes. I've seen memes about Americans complaining that they lost an hour of sleep over daylight savings. But listen, if anything is gonna give me a chance to play some more Texas Chainsaw Massacre with Madison, then sign me up, okay? We haven't played Texas Chainsaw Massacre in a while, and you might think I've forgotten about the game. I might think anyone's forgotten about the game, actually. Who's playing Texas Chainsaw? Let's see. How many people are watching Texas Chainsaw on Twitch? Take a guess. I'd say 2,000. That's a small number. Why would I say 2,000? Oh my god, 600. That is a small number. Wow, just 600 people. But you know what? 600 viewers is still a good amount. 600 viewers is still a healthy amount. But what I will never get over... Look at this. Ots Darva has... Jesus. Alright. Let's run some quick maths here. Let's run some quick maths. Let's divide 14,700 by 653. Ots Darva himself, a singular... I mean, okay. The Dead by Daylight, the biggest Dead by Daylight content creator, has 22.5 times the amount of viewers on Twitch that all of Texas Chainsaw has right now. Wow. Wow. Talk about espresso depresso. Nah. People always say, oh, that's depressing. That's depressing. Who cares? Who cares? Why should the quality of a game be decided by the amount of people who watch it? So when has the quality of a game ever been decided by the amount of people who love it? And you'd think that's a pretty good measure, okay? The amount of people playing, you'd think, oh, it's a good game. Or maybe just like an addicting game. I don't know. I'll like keep in mind any fucking gacha game. Genshin Impact is like the most famous mobile game ever. Fortnite. Fortnite's a good game. Is it the best game ever? I don't know. Like objectively speaking, I don't know. There's so much to go on about. He has a ton too right now because there are drops going on. Dead by Daylight does drops? What the hell? What? I'm not gonna watch this stream, but video breaking down the unknown. Dude, I feel so sad for Ots. Not okay. Like I don't feel that sad for Ots. The dude's got it made. Dude plays video games for a living. But what I mean is, I'm sad for Ots because I know for a fact he's burnt out on Dead by Daylight. This man has tried to break away from Dead by Daylight on so many occasions. He's tried to play other games that he likes. He's tried to play Souls-like games. I know before Dead by Daylight, he used to play Dark Souls a lot. I know he's tried to play like Darkest Dungeon on stream. He's tried to do other streams that get a literal fraction, that minute decimal of a fraction of the viewer base he gets when he plays Dead by Daylight. And I just know he just cannot break it. What the hell? Why is there a channel playing Mario Party 7 for 10,000 gamers? What is this? What the heck? Who is this guy? What is this guy? Why are we TTS Texas? What is this? What's going on here? Can Barack Obama's hands beat us in Mario Party? If he moves his hands, it will control Boo in Mario Party. Doug is Luigi. Twitch chat is Waluigi. YouTube is Mario. What the hell? They're playing Mario Party against Boo's and Barack Obama's hands. Okay, listen. Maybe some people are creative. Less. So yeah, no, long story short, I've got a few game ideas. And one of the game ideas that I currently really want to develop, the one I really want to work on, is a game inspired by Plants vs. Zombies. Because the last Plants vs. Zombies game we've gotten is basically Plants vs. Zombies 2. We don't talk about Plants vs. Zombies, it's 3, because I'm not even sure if it even released. PvZ 3, did it even release? Oh my god, I think it did. Did it? I have no idea whether it released or not. All I remember is people shitting all over it. People taking a massive dump. And to be fair, some people are like, oh, but the art style's cute. Sometimes games change their art style. And you know what? This one is a huge leap. Like, this is a massive jump. Oh, it's not even out yet. They're still redesigning it. And to be fair, the game looks really good. Like, this is the kind of thing you'd want to see. You want to see more kind of map variety. You want to see... I just can't understand how a franchise that made such a legendary first entry, an iconic game that redefined the genre of tower defense, has absolutely not been able to make like one consistently good sequel. Plants vs Zombies 2 is a decent game, but ever since Electronic Arts bought PopCat, EA, the mother of all like greedy companies in the gaming industry, Plants vs Zombies has not been able to make like a single good tower defense. Because I know PvZ also has the whatchamacallums. It has the shooters. It has the shooters like Garden Warfare. It has Garden Warfare, and I've heard good things. I've heard that the people who have played Garden Warfare, they've enjoyed it. But I don't really go to Plants vs Zombies for a shooter. I go for tower defense. And a game like Plants vs Zombies 1, you could say it's PvZ 2. And PvZ 2, when did it come out? PvZ 2? When was this game released? In 2013. The latest, the last tower defense Plants vs Zombies game that we got was over a decade ago. It's been 11 years since PvZ 2. And you know how long it's been since PvZ 1? Plants vs Zombies 1 released in 2009. You know how long it's been since 2009? I'll give you a minute to math it out. Take your time. It's been 15 years. May 5. It is about to be the 15th anniversary of Plants vs Zombies 1. And when have we ever gotten an actual like tower defense sequel to it? Over 9 years ago. So I'm like, listen, I'm tired. I'm sick and tired of waiting for a new Plants vs Zombies game. I want to make my own Plants vs Zombies inspired game. And I was really worried, how am I going to make a Plants vs Zombies tower defense game and not just completely plagiarize the hell out of it and get sued to my britches, just like have PopCat and EA sue all the socks off me. And then I was thinking about it, and I'm like, okay, listen. There are certain concepts that just straight up cannot be copyrighted. You can, like, the more ambiguous and general a concept, you cannot copy. Like, you cannot copyright zombies. You cannot copyright, for example, plants. You cannot copyright. There are certain things that you just straight up cannot copyright. But then I had to think, okay, wait a minute. Just how much Plants vs Zombies do I want to use this game as inspiration. I loved the mechanics. I loved the idea and the feel of the game. But just how much of it do I really want to like take as inspiration, and how much do I want to build upon and make my own? And at first I had a really sussy idea. I was like, you know what? Yeah, I love it. And I wanted to run with that idea. But then I was like, wait a minute. Now let's make something a little bit more relatable, a little bit more unique. And then I was like, you know what? Maybe I want to keep like the plant motif. I want to keep the plant aesthetic, but I don't want to just like depend on plants. I don't want to be like, oh, this is just a Plants vs Zombies reskin. What kind of mechanic, what kind of idea could I use, could I add to make this an inspired Plants vs Zombies tower defense game, but not just like a ripoff? I'm like, how do I do this? How do I do this? How do I do this? And then I thought about it. And I thought about it some more. I was like, you know what? What if I make a game about a robot? And this robot doesn't know who they are, doesn't know who made them. They just know they have a purpose and they want to find that purpose. And the only thing they know is that they're good with plants or something. They're good with plants. They're good with... They know they have like all of botany, all of the knowledge of botany in their brain. They're like a really, really smart robot. Really smart robot botanist. A robotanist. So this robot wakes up, has no memory of who they are, and they crawl out of their little hole, their little seal, wherever the hell they were. And then they realize the world has gone to shit. The world has gone to shit, and there are robots everywhere. And you know what? That's okay. That's cool, because this robot is also a robot, so what's the issue? Well, the thing is, like, how do I describe this? I want to make it so that the robot realizes that like humanity is on the brink of extinction. There has been like a robot uprising. The robots are absolutely decimating everyone. And the robot doesn't know. Oh, should it join the robots? Should it defend the humans? Like, what is my purpose? Why was I made? And I wanted to have like fragments of memories that lead it towards locations. That, okay, wait a minute. If you find like these, there are certain people that you remember. Maybe they were friends of your creator. If you find those people, they will point you in the right direction, or they will help you, or they will help fix your memory, so that you realize who made you, why were you made, and why is the world falling apart? Why are there robots everywhere? Real Steel shit. Okay, listen. All I remember about Real Steel is robot boxing. That's all I remember about Real Steel. But the concept is, you're playing as this amnesiac robot. You don't remember who you are, what's your purpose, but you know you have a purpose, and all you know are plants. You're just like really great with plants. And you woke up in like an abandoned garden, essentially. So you crawl out of the garden, and the world has gone to shit. The world is in flames, it's in chaos, and robots are everywhere enslaving the shit out of humanity. And all you know, you have like these fragments of people like, oh, wait a minute. I remember these people. Is this my creator? So you have like an option of people you can visit who are like across locations in the globe. And you're like, okay, because I want to give it options. I know the original Plants vs. Zombies is super straightforward. It's like, listen, all right, this is World 1, Level 1. Beat all 9 levels of this, and you'll move on to the next one. Beat the boss level 1-10. Okay, move on to World 2. Oh, it's back. Oh, now it's nighttime. That's World 2-1. And it's super linear story. And I kind of want to deviate from a linear story, and I kind of want to give the player a little bit of a choice. Like, oh, hey, listen, you remember, you have a fragment of memory that you remember, like this person who lives in, I don't know, suburban metropolitan area in God knows what country. Or you remember this person who lives like in Saharan savannah over in this country. And depending on which like one you decide to visit, you're gonna get like a certain perspective about who they are, how they knew your creator, because they end up not being your actual creator. So you're like following the trail of like, wait, who created me? What is my purpose? What can I do? And as you're going to as you're going to these locations where these people are, you don't exactly know like how their exact location, but you know of their general vicinity. So once you travel to, like, let's say for example, the first person is located in Africa, in the savannas of Africa or whatever. So, but you don't know exactly what part. So you go to a general location and you set up shop. And you set up your shop. You set up like a little lab with a little, like a dainty antenna. And you have to spend an X amount of time there as you like keep honing into the signal of the person or whatever. Like whatever fragment of memory you have needs time to hone into that person. But as you spend time there, you're like an anomalous object in the middle of this like deep robot infested territory. So the robots are gonna start like investigating your base. They're gonna be like, hey, listen, like unauthorized setup. Please refrain. Please seek permits. And you need to defend your little base as you lock on to like the signal of the person you're tracking down. And you need to survive like an X amount of days. Let's say you gotta survive like, I don't know, 7 days. You gotta survive 7 days, which would which would actually like translate to 7 levels. You gotta survive 7 levels. Or if we want to make it like really like Plants vs. Zombies, sure, fine. You gotta survive like 9 levels and a boss level, I fucking guess. That's an idea I originally had. Originally, my idea for the plot, because what I just told you is like an idea I just had. My original idea for the plot was that the robot was incomplete, and to complete themselves, they had to use materials. They had to find really rare materials, and they had to travel to these areas where they knew they might find the material. But to locate to ping down the material, they needed time. So you needed to survive the amount of days necessary to ping down the material. And if any of the robots make it to your base, they like self-destruct, they explode the hell out of your base. and it sends you, it forces you like to retreat, and you have to decide whether you're gonna retry in that area or maybe you want to retry at a different area, because that way I want to be able to give the player like the choice of progression. Oh man, you were so close to defeating this area, because if you stick it out, if you defeat this area, whatever upgrade you found for yourself was going to be able to help you in a unique way, or allow you to like modify the plants or the robots that you use to defend your base in a way that would help you with the other areas. Or you know what, maybe I'm finding this area too hard, I want to go to another area that I might find easier. Oh wait, you managed to be that other area, and that other area gives you a sort of upgrade that'll let you come back to this area you originally were at, and it makes the area easier. But the thing about making choices like that, the reason why I want to make the order in which you choose the areas important, is because depending on the reason I thought about maybe I should make it people instead of just random objects, is because if I want the story to have any sort of like if I want to make it a more interesting story, then I want it to revolve a little bit more around discovering who you are as a robot. What was your purpose? Like, why were you created and who created you? And if you're piecing together who created you based on people who knew your creator and not like the memories you have of it, that lends itself to a more branching story and a more like replayable story than it would like just piecing together your lost memory fragments. Oh, you piece it together. Oh, this is the story. This is the I remember now. This is what I remember of my creator. And that's like a nice story you can tell. Like, oh, I fixed myself and I remember now. This is who he was. Or you could have a replayable story in which the order in which you visit the different people who knew your creator, let's say they were like part of a team, part of a scientist team, whatever. And if you first visit like the guy in the Antarctic, let's say the guy in the Antarctic was like your creator's brother and they had a fight. So he has like a really heartbroken memory of your creator. So he gives you like a really heartbroken perspective on who created you. And then when you go to seek the next person, you're already going with a very heartbroken perspective. You're like, wow, wait a minute. You already have like one perspective that's going to shape whatever new information you receive. And then when you go to this next place, based on that heartbroken perspective, it might influence whatever new information you get and twist it in a way that would have not been twisted on a previous playthrough. Let's say, for example, on another playthrough, instead of going to like the heartbroken brother, you end up meeting your creator's partner, like their husband or wife. And they have such like a loving, fond, gentle memory of your creator. You end up whoever you visit next, you're gonna go with a very like open, gentle perspective of who your creator was. And let's say, for example, if from the gentle perspective you move on to the heartbroken perspective in the Antarctic, instead of letting yourself go down that sad path, the story is gonna branch down wait a minute, no, this cannot be, something must have happened for my creator to have done this. And like that's the part that really lends itself to like some replayability and like some alternate ending kind of stuff, because I want to tell a story that is influenced by the player's decision. I have an idea for a story I want to tell, because I want to tell it about a robot who wants to remember their creator, know their creator, but also know who they are in the process. And I don't want to tell a linear story and say, oh, the robot was a war robot and they were designed to protect the world from other robots, because that's like it's a very like snug thing. I want the player to kind of like shape the purpose of the robot. I want the player's decisions of how they branch down the story to mold and shape how the players what significance and purpose the robot fills at the end of the playthrough. Like, if you catch my drift, I really want the player's decisions to be influential of the robot's purpose. I hope I'm getting that point across, and I'm glad this is I'm glad that we're doing this on stream because now I can just like listen to this back and remember and judge my ideas. Like, oh, that's a banger idea. I should write that down. Write that down. But and all this to say, if I really and an additional idea that goes along with that with the okay, every memory has like a very strong emotional tie towards who the creator was. You could nudge that along in the story with the original like scan of each area. Like, for example, a scan of the Antarctic reveals, oh, there are very like it'll give you like a brief overview of the kind of enemy you might face. Like, oh, you have enemies that produce heat or whatever to remain functioning. So you'd have to take like heat resistant plants, but even though it's in the Antarctic, because you need to be able to produce heat to combat that kind of stuff. Like, I don't know. And not beyond giving you like initial scan, like an idea of what you're going to be facing, I'd also love it to give you an idea of the storyline it's going to face. Oh, you're picking up a very despondent signal. Oh, you're picking up a very persistent signal. Oh, you're picking up a very like timid signal. That kind of stuff. Just like a little cue as to the kind of storyline you would be like chasing down, and how like each area is gonna mold the perspective of your creator in some way, shape, or form. I just find that interesting, you know? I think it's a good idea. But whatever the case may be, I need to get started on the game design document because I do have the concept. And the reason I want to make the game design document is because I want to shape it in a way that makes it feel more real and actually gets my foot in the door and gets me working on it. So how about we get this started? How about we start shaping this out one way or the other? And I have my previous one here for inspiration. Because for my other game, Coconut Crab, my little arcade game about crabs catching coconuts, the gameplay for Coconut Crab Wants Home revolves around the player moving crabs down the side. So in this case, the first line of introduction to what the game should be about, I need to explain the actual vision I have for the game. So let's explain the idea behind the gameplay for Robotinus. So let's say that the gameplay for Robotanist revolves. Yeah, I know you want to tell me Robotanist is misspelled. It's a good pun. Also, I feel like that's a badass title. Like, I feel like that's a banger of a title. Sometimes you think of a pun or you think of a scenario. Hasn't it happened to you? Like, you're no writer. You're not a writer by any stretch of the imagination. But you think of a scene, like a badass scene, and I know it's happened to David because he said this for DMing. Like, you think of a badass scene and you're like, wow, I'd love to write a book just as a build up to this one scene I have in my mind. Well, I feel like that happens to me with game titles. I think of a really cool title, I'm like, wow, that would make a really cool title for a movie or a really cool title for a video game. And I feel like Robotanist is such a good title. It's a great title. I feel like it's unique. It's catchy. It's a pun. Like, it's wonderful. It's got all the makings of a cultural phenomenon. So, the gameplay for Robotanist revolves around. And here's the thing about Robotanist. Here's the thing. I want it to be Plants vs. Zombies inspired, but I do not want to like be tied down by the idea of Plants vs. Zombies. I do not want to be tied down by the idea of Plants vs. Zombies, and I want to give it a space to be its own thing. It's fascinating how the camera, like, the GIF just remains. The camera moves, but the GIF is there. unmovable, immutable. Anyways, because the thing is, I don't really just want to say, oh, it's a game where a robot uses plants. I also want part of the game to revolve around you choosing whether you want to use robots or you want to use plants to defend your base as you're like pinging on and following these story beats. And I was thinking, well, listen, if you're fighting robot uprisings, then you shouldn't be fighting it with other complex robots because it wouldn't like thematically be it wouldn't feel right. But I was like, what if you fight it with very simple analog things? What if you fight it with like blenders and toasters like these very simple appliances that you just like deck out for home defense. But then I was like, but listen, where can I implement the plant aspect of it? And I was like, okay, I don't want the plants. I don't want the plants to just be like, oh, it's just like a pea shooter, but redesigned. No. I want there to be like a very, very specific theme as to why the plants are the way they are and why the robots are the way they are. And I was like, well, maybe you could make animal plants. Maybe every plant that you grow could be like a genetic modification of an animal. Like you could have a cabbage dog, you could have like a carrot cat, you could have like, and each one of them are like have some sort of like a long home defense, space defense capability, you know. But have it be like very themed, very themed. And then, or my other thought was like, well, maybe I could have it. All right, the gameplay for robots takes inspiration from Plants vs. Zombies and revolves around utilizing a combination of genetically modified plants and household appliances to defend your traveling base from robots. Let's read what we just wrote out and see if it makes any sort of sense whatsoever. Stop trying to tell me robotness is bad. Add it to the personal dictionary. It's a good name. Robotness. I misspelled travel. The gameplay for Robotness takes inspiration from Plants vs. Zombies and revolves around utilizing a combination of genetically modified plants and household appliances to defend your traveling base from robots. Seems simple enough to me. The story of the game. The story follows an amnesiac robot. It follows a robot whose memories were corrupted over time. The story follows a robot follows a robot's journey to regain their corrupted memories, to fix, to peace, to repair their corrupted memories, and discover their function, their purpose, and discover who created them, and For what purpose? The gameplay for Robotinus takes inspiration from Plants vs. Zombies and revolves around utilizing a combination of genetically modified plants and household appliances to defend your traveling base from robots. The story follows a robot's journey to repair their corrupted memories and discover who created them and for what purpose. Surely there's a more eloquent way to say these things, but listen, you just gotta stick your ideas there. You just gotta stick your ideas there. The player must travel to different locations across the globe, tracking down people who knew their creator. Player must travel to different locations across the globe, tracking down leads and surviving numerous is a good name. Good word. Numerous waves against, they're not killer robots. I wouldn't call them killer robots, but like evil robots. Bad robots. Numerous waves against evil robots. They're evil. They're evil. Sometimes something's just evil. From evil robots. Player must travel to different locations across the globe, tracking down leads and surviving numerous waves against evil robots. To gain upgrades and regain their memories. So let's see. Let's hear this general vision. Let's see if it makes sense. The gameplay for Robotinus takes inspiration from Plants vs. Zombies and revolves around utilizing a combination of genetically modified plants and household appliances to defend your traveling base from evil robots. The story follows the robot's journey to repair their corrupted memories and discover who created them and for what purpose. The player must travel to different locations across the globe, tracking down leads and surviving numerous waves against evil robots to gain upgrades and regain their memories. Sounds good to me. Sounds good to me. And honestly, I'd want to develop this for PC. The game would be designed and marketed for PC. And to be fair, I feel like if I managed to develop this game for PC, it probably would not be hard to port. It probably would not be hard to port to consoles. Because tower defense games are generally just you're looking at a screen and you've just got different kinds of UIs that interact with the different kinds of UIs that the player interacts with like in real time. It's not like a super huge open world environment that you've got to figure out whether your console could actually handle it. Like, for example, the Switch could probably not handle God of War, but since it's a console exclusive, then it doesn't matter. But then if you've got a game like Fall Guys, and you've got to figure out how to optimize that the best for Switch and console and PC. But given the case, I feel like a tower defense game like Plants vs. Zombies would probably not be very hard to port to consoles. So I think if I design and market the game for PC first, console ports would probably not be a hard thing to include either after the initial release or just even like as something tied along with that initial release. I wouldn't even know how to fucking market a game to Xbox. Do I have to send Microsoft an email? Let's see. Let's look up the Xbox. Let's go to the Xbox webpage. Let's see what's going on over there. And what's going on here? Ooh, a big band. Don't mind if I do. Alright. So, let's go to the Xbox official site. Let's see what happens. Let's say I've got a game. I produced a game for Xbox. I made a game. I want to sell you a game, Xbox developers. Let's see what it takes to give Xbox a game. Bring your game to Xbox, PC, and mobile. Partner and become a creator with Xbox. Attract and engage over 100 million players around the world. Wow, that's a lot of players. Yeah, I've heard. And not only have I heard, I've seen, like, fucking everything is on Game Pass nowadays. Everything. Everything is on Game Pass, dude. Any game that comes to Xbox, it's on Game Pass. It's crazy. Xbox developer programs. Whether you're a solo dev or a large studio, Xbox has the right programs to help you launch your game and reach millions of players. ID at Xbox. Let's see what this is. I'm an independent game developer. The ID at Xbox program enables qualified game developers of all sizes to unleash their creativity by self-publishing games on Xbox console, Windows, and cloud. That's right, because fucking Windows owns Xbox. Completely forgot about that. Fuck that. Giving studios the tools and support needed to maximize their success. That's cool. That's cute. That's nice. What will it cost me? There are no fees to apply to ID at Xbox to submit a game to certification, publish, or update your games. There may be a very modest, very small. Very modest implies, oh, it's like nothing. It's like peanuts. It's peanuts. Very modest one-time cost associated with development for access to our partner center publishing portal. Very ambiguous, but also specific. Developers with an approved concept will receive access to dev kits free of charge. They've been very ambiguous about what the dev kit actually is. Like, dev kit is like what? A fucking audio library? A fucking asset library? Like, a game engine? Like, it's very curious what this kind of thing entails. Interesting. What about creators? Whether you're just getting into game development, finishing a student project, or looking to take your latest creation to the biggest screen in the house, the Xbox Creators Programs is for you. If your game integrates Xbox services and follows our standard store policies, you are ready to publish. No concept approval required. What does that even mean? No concept approval? The hell? Oh, this is if you don't really want to sell your game? This is if you just like if you want to be able to put your game on an Xbox. That's cool. That's cool. That is really interesting. Why are my games from the Creator Program being put into a separate area in the store? On the Windows Store, Creators Program games will be sold among all other games in the standard Microsoft Store, but on Xbox, which offers gamers a curated store experience, games through the Creator Program are searchable but don't generally assort in store listings. This offers a balance between ensuring an open platform, but also providing a curated store experience. Wow. God, who would have known Xbox became such a curated people of the people console? That's curious. That's cool. That is pretty cool. What about PlayStation? So yeah, apparently Xbox is like, hey, listen, you got a game, send us your concept. Cool. All right, that's cool. That's fun. All right, so what about PlayStation? What about Sony? Sony fucking, I don't know, PlayStation. What's the fucking website? I don't know. PlayStation. Let's go to PlayStation. How accessible is PlayStation? Games. No, it's just games. All right. Nope. Perhaps services? Nope. Support? Nope. Store? Nope. News? Nope. Yeah, I see. I'm sensing a divide. I'm sensing a divide. Seems to me Sony is not so keen on indies. Hey, Baldur's Gate is there. It seems the way for Sony is you send an email to sony.com at gmail, whatever. Let's see what. Oh, maybe here at the bottom. Developers, there we go. You just had to scroll to the bottom. Your journey begins here at PlayStation Partners. Make games with us. PlayStation is home to adventure and innovation. And what is this font? This is such a weird font. Feels like half the words are like cutting. That's weird. Also, this is too bright. Give me dark font. Every week, millions of people experience the extraordinary through us. Let me lower the volume. There you go. How does this even work? Let's see. Put your game in front of millions of players with PlayStation Store. They didn't give us an exact number. Xbox was like, oh, over 100 million. Oh, that's a good number. Millions. Millions is such an ambiguous number, PlayStation. You own the IP and pick the release date. Then use our sales reports to track your revenue and hit your targets. Go to market. Get the word out using our marketing channels, amplify your title's reach, build a community. Select titles are also integrated campaigns, digital advertising, CRM, and social media support. Wow. Build your word. You bring the talent. We'll provide support teams, comprehensive system testing systems, access to thriving. Wow. This is pretty cool. Partnerships. We want new voices. Hey, you're a game developer. Whether your game is ready to play or just a glorious concept, we're here to support you right through development. The thing is, the thing that can be really daunting about looking at these massive like consoles and companies is that I feel like it's so easy that if you do not have a if you don't have your feet firmly planted on the ground, it feels like it might be very easy for them to just like sweep your IP right out from under you. If you are not like prepared, if you do not have your feet on the ground and you're like, okay, wait a minute, I want to copyright my idea. This is the game I want to develop. This is how I'm going to develop it. It really feels like if you go to like the big company who says they're going to help you and promote your game, I don't know, it just feels like it can be really easy to be swept off your feet unless you like really know what you're getting into and you like read those fine prints, all the details. Hey, we'll provide, because it says, oh, we'll provide you with all this. We'll give you market analysis. If your game qualifies, we'll give you campaigns, digital advertising, social media support. We'll give you system testings. We'll give you support teams. But it's like communist propaganda. But it's like the royalties, though. The royalties, owning the IP, marketing the IP. Because for example, corpos are here for you. It's like, at what point do I sign with Xbox but not get fucked over by the fine print where, oh, wait a minute, you signed on Xbox, it was an Xbox exclusive, now your IP belongs to us, or some stupid shit like that. Like, you hear where I'm coming from? Like, these are all very nice. Look, these are our famous games. Little Big Planet, Miles Morales, FIFA. Come be part of this selection. And it's like, listen, if you had the chance to take my IP, I know you would. So, calm your horses. Calm your horses. But all right, PlayStation was a little harder to get into. It wasn't at the top of the screen, but hey, it was at the bottom. We got there. What about good old-fashioned Nintendo, huh? The people's company that will sue the shit off of you if you so much as mess up. Let's see. So, right at the top of the screen, my Nintendo store, maybe? Let's see. Games. No? Ah, Pikmin's there. Cool. Maybe games? Maybe Nintendo Switch? Maybe... I don't know. I don't see anything here. Perhaps we go to maybe we gotta go to the bottom of the page, too. Just like Sony. Oh, you can see the camera. Why does that look like such an old PNG of a Pikachu? Like, this is the official Nintendo store, and I don't know, there's something about this Pikachu picture that looks like it looks so default. I don't know, it just looks It's so whatever. Also, why did they keep making Pikachu skinnier? I miss chubby Pikachu. Oh my god. Oh, never mind. I was gonna say a Nintendo game's on sale, and I realized it's freaking Mario Kart 8. The Mario Kart that came out like a decade ago. So, let's see here. Careers. No, I don't want a career with Nintendo. I want games. I want to sell you my games. Hey, I have a game. Exclusives, maybe? Do I have to go to store exclusives? No, this is not what I need to do. I've seen people get their games onto like the Switch. Games. Maybe games? Is this just gonna give me a list of games? Yeah, that's exactly that. Nintendo product recycling? What does that even mean? The hell, Nintendo product recycling? What does this mean? How to recycle? If your Nintendo system is no longer working, it may be eligible for repair. Take Back program free. We provide a free courtesy product take back program for the recycling of Nintendo hardware. They just take it back. You just give it to them. Hey, they'll take it back. Don't worry about it. Really? Just take it back from the company that famously does not support like emulation and like preserving of older games. Hey, we'll take back your console for free. Don't worry about it. It's useless. Don't try to fix it yourself. We'll try to fix it for you. Oh, we can't fix it? Oh, we'll take it back for free. I don't know. There's something really weird. Something really strange about that. I'm just saying. Anyways. I really am not seeing how to develop for Nintendo. This is like very, very not as accessible. And I expected it to be as much. I expected this to be a lot less. Fine, careers. Maybe careers with Nintendo. Maybe that's what it is. Superstars wanted. Look at these people. They're so happy. Reach your goals. We invest in your health. Life at Nintendo. Look at these people. They're so happy. Oh, yeah. These people are diverse. Very diverse. Well, there is nothing about... How do people get their games at Nintendo? What the hell? Do I have to email Nintendo? Hey, Nintendo, I made a game. Let's talk. That's what it feels like. That's what it's feeling like. Wait, Nintendo indie game. Like, how do I send you my indie game, Nintendo? Plants vs. Zombies is on freaking... it's no longer an indie game, but I feel like it used to be. Indie games. Check out some of the must-have indie games. How do I give you my indie game? It's like, look at all these games. How did these people get... Five Nights at Freddy's Security Breach is an indie game? What the hell? Excuse me? Gotta agree to sell 89% of all future ideas. Okay. Is Five Nights at Freddy's an indie game at this point? The other games, sure. Security Breach was made by a studio. At one point, does a studio stop being indie? Definition of indie studio. These are projects that are created by independent developers. Independence means that they do not work for large studios like EA or Ubisoft, but only for themselves. These are kind of individual entrepreneurs in the gaming industry. They are made up of just a few. This is like... See, here's the thing. This is such an ambiguous definition. This is so ambiguous. Indie games lifetime income on Steam. Oh shit! What is this from? I'm interested now. Indie game development guide to revenue. I just wanted to know your statistics for that chart. That was an interesting pie chart you had there. Show me the chart. Show me the chart. I don't remember. Where'd the chart go? There it is. There's the chart. Okay. Let's see. According to research by analytics platform Video Game Insights that studied 21,000 indie games on Steam, half of all released self-published options do not generate more than $4,000 in revenue. That's half. Half of self-published. Like, if I make a game and publish it myself, there's a 50% chance it will not generate more than $4,000. Hey, it's Cultist. How's it going? It's great to have you here, Cultist. Hope you're doing good. You got home from your trip? Ah, dude, did you tell us where you were going? I can't remember now. Where were you at? Where were you at? What were you up to? Technically, Baldur's Gate is an indie. Game was 100% self-funded. But here's the thing. It's made by a studio. Larian Studios. How many people does Larian Studios employ? Because that's what I'm wondering. Like, at what point do you stop being an indie studio? Like, oh, maybe it's if you don't have stock. Like, if you're not, like, you don't have stock. You're not, like, a stock market company. That's a pretty good way to catalog yourself as an indie studio. You don't have, like, stock Wall Street shareholders. You just have, like, the employees themselves are the shareholders of your company. Oh, look at all these open positions. Hey, you want to work at internship? Oh, look at all these freaking internship opportunities in Guildford, Kuala Lumpur. Where the fuck is Kuala Lumpur? What? I've never had these many titles, these many tabs open. All right, let's produce. All right, where is Kuala Lumpur? Capital of Malaysia. Wow. You guys want to go to Malaysia? You guys wanna go to Malaysia? Employees are assets. They don't get equity. Oh, I'm sorry, now. You're correct. Hey, you guys wanna work in Barcelona? Wow. Freaking, these people have people. I didn't know Larian Studios had people all across the world. Do they work virtually? Is this like online jobs? Or do they just have like several branches? Oh, they have 3 studios. No, they have 6. Larian Studios has 6 studios, and you're telling me this is an indie studio? But this is what I mean, like, define indie. Independent, sure. Independent is that they are working for themselves. They fund themselves. But what does that even mean? In 1996, in a small office in Ghent, Belgium, Larian Studios was born. Since then, our passion to create a world-class video games. What? That's typo. Fire this man. Fire this woman. Who wrote this typo? It's okay. Our passion to create world-class video games has driven the Divinity series. Wow, there's 6 entries in the Divinity franchise. Jesus. That straddle multiple genres and defy expectations. Our first crowd-funded success, Divinity Original Sin, won 150 awards. Jeez. And recently released sequel? When was this typed out? Who typed this out? Recently released sequel, Divinity 2. When was Divinity 2 released? Divinity 2 Original Sin was released. When was this released? September 2017. 2017 was not recent. I'll have you know that. I'm telling you right now, it's not recent. 2017 happened 7 years ago. 2017 happened 7 years ago. Not recent. Anyone born in 2017 is in the 2nd grade right now. Do not kid yourself. That is not recent. Wow, someone born in 2017 is 7 years old already. You know, I forgot my age today. I forgot how old I was today. That's how you can tell, like, I'm getting up there. Getting up there, please. I'm such a fucking idiot. I'm 25. But for a second, I thought I was 24. I thought I was 24. I really thought I was 24. And I was like, wait a minute, what year was I born in? 1998. Oh, I'm 25. I turned 26 this year. I really thought it was 24. I just like feel like a picture of perfect health. This game dev stream has become a game discussion podcast and game development discussion stream. But hey, that's part of the fun, isn't it? So all this to say, what makes an indie studio indie? Well, they just fund themselves. Look at all these job postings. You didn't realize it. Wow. Sadly, all of these are like, hey, maybe I just want to be an engine programmer intern in Quebec. Quebec is right there. It's just like what? Canada. It's fine. Canada's cool. I can speak a little bit of French. Tiny bit. Smallest amount. Almost nothing. I can speak almost no French. Responsibilities. You are responsible to help maintain, port, and extend our proprietary engine. Oh, they have a proprietary engine. Debug and optimize code. Show a strong passion for low-level coding. Hey, I can do low-level coding. And a big interest in performance analysis. Listen, I love it when game run good. I love it when game run good. A huge passion for a game run good. You will extend and maintain a wide array of features, ranging from streaming, animation, threading, memory, I/O, physics, systems. That's very engineer-like. Complete all tasks in a timely manner. Oh, so deal with sprints. Document code features. Know how to write comments. Show strong passion for making highest quality state-of-the-art games. I can do that. Safeguarding of the company's assets, including source code, artwork, tools, technical know-how. You know what safeguarding of the company's assets means? It means don't be a leaker. It means if we hire you, your responsibility is to shut your mouth. Shut your mouth and sign this NDA. Requirements: strong C++ skills. Listen, I have decent street. I wouldn't say I have strong C++ skills, but they're pretty decent. They're alright. They're pretty good. Professional level of written. Listen. Professional level of written and spoken English. I would even say I've got a native level. It's fantastic. Passion for making and playing great games. Experience with graphic APIs. Listen, I've used these graphic APIs. Experience with a wide range of CPU and GPU profiling tools. That's something we should work on. Multi-threading should be second nature. Now that's something we can Google. Multi-threading is the ability of a program or an operating system to enable more than one user at a time without requiring multiple copies of the program running on the computer. That sounds like multiplayer. Multi-threading is the ability of a program to operate or an operating system to enable more than one user at a time. Multi-threading just sounds like multiplayer. More than one user at a time. That's literally multiplayer. They're like, listen, we ain't making no single player nonsense. Multiplayer or GTFO. That's cool. Alright, this music is a little intense. Let's get something a little softer. A little softer going on. See something a little more chill. This has become an all GTF like the hit game GTFO. Listen, GTFO is a good game. It's a cool game. I have it in my library installed. Madison has the game installed. I'm fairly certain Zip also owns the game. Don't know if he has ever even downloaded it. One day we'll play the game. One day, David. I have it installed. I'm ready. It's there. It's been there. $40 I've not really used yet. It's been there. So yeah, listen. Long story short, how about before I just keep writing some nonsense on this game design document, how about I get started on some market research, shall we? Let's get started on some market research. And by that I mean, let's look into Planches on. What? I know there's a few. Oh wait a minute, no, we never looked into this. I was interested in this statistic, and I want to read. So, according to research by analytics platform VG Insights, and let's see, is VG Insights a credible source? Apparently, it's trusted by 10,000 plus of users. That's a spelling error. Spelling mistake. Oh wait, it went up. What the fuck? What the hell? That number went up. That said 10,000, did it not? Am I wrong? Did I just completely grossly miss? Did it always say 15,000? Maybe it did. Maybe I'm losing my mind. Alright, listen. This seems like a reputable source. Seems fairly reputable. Alright, fine. So, according to this platform, they studied 21,000 indie games, and half of all released self-published options don't generate more than $4,000. So, if I self-publish, if I myself publish an indie game, there is a 50% chance that it does not make more than $4,000. They do not even cover the resources spent on their creation. About 25% of indie games have earned $25,000. Remember that these figures should be considered in terms of time spent and the number of team members involved in indie game development. The game has been developed for more than a year by several people, and this result cannot be called particularly successful. That is true. Like, if I make an indie game, if I make a game and it makes 25%, and if it makes $25,000, then you know what? That's a success. That's a pretty good number. But if I'm working on an indie game, a 4% difference is showing a 50% increase. That is true. That's pretty damn impressive. But let's keep looking at these numbers, I suppose. And all this would look very depressing if not for the rest of the indie games, proving that not everything is so hopeless. 14% of indie games have managed to break the 100,000 mark in revenue. And this is looking at 21,000 games. Let's see what 14% of 21,000 is real quick. Calculator. Let's see. Percent it was. There was a formula for this nonsense. I remember that if you divide a number by the bigger number, that's how you get the percent. But if you already have the percent, let's see, 14%, we have to multiply that by 100. And then we have to divide that. What's that? I can't remember. 14,000, and then this divide by 21,000. No, I can't remember. Let's see. We'll ask Google. 14% of 21,000. 3,000 games. Out of 21,000 games, 3,000 of them managed to make over $100,000, which is a pretty good number. But it's a pretty small number. And then out of those 21,000, 10% doubled it. Like you said, like a 4% difference is showing a 50% increase. Absolutely baffling. And then at the meager 1%, and let's see, 1% of 21,000 is 210. 210 out of 21,000 games, 200 of them managed to make over $7 million. To be fair, 7 million is an insane number. And of course it does, because this is saying like self-published. Of the 21,000 games reviewed, this is about 200 pieces that managed to do the impossible. For example, entertainment products such as Underwater Survival Subnautica. Hey, and RimWorld's here. And Simulation RimWorld grossed over 100 million and sold millions of copies. But during the coronavirus pandemic, Plague Inc. gained immense popularity, capturing over 130 million players worldwide and generated tens of millions of dollars in revenues. So much so that they donated $250,000 to fight the coronavirus. That's actually insane. Just reaching 4% more of the market can explode your sales. Yeah, like these, and this is what we're doing right now. It might seem like we're doing absolutely nothing, but we are looking like we're doing market analysis right now. We are learning like things that influence the reception of a video game, and this is also part of like the game design process, thinking about, okay, listen, if you're gonna develop a game, you better keep in mind how you're gonna market that game, because if you don't know how to market a game, it's dead in the water. That's it. Doesn't matter how good of a game it is, it's dead in the water if you do not know how to market it. And sure, your game could explode years after release. Oh no, you might be dead years after release. You might never see that. So, most profitable genres for indie games. Oh, and we hopped into like the last like 30%. We hopped into the last 30% of this article. This article has a lot more going on that we could explore as well. So, Video Game Insights uncovered an interesting pattern. So the most promising genres in terms of earnings are RPG, strategy, and simulation. They are followed by adventure, action, sports, and racing, which are worth choosing only if you're completely confident in your idea. The most inappropriate genre for indie games are casual options, in which the likelihood of high earnings is negligible. To be fair, wow, that is baffling. If you look at the fact that casual games, wow. If you look at the fact that casual games are the hardest genre for indie games to be made explosive, that just makes Stardew Valley an even bigger baffling product. Stardew Valley being a freaking smash universal hit of indie development produced by just one guy and absolutely blowing other farming games out of it really is an anomaly. It just goes to show you how big of an anomaly it is, because you cannot recreate Stardew Valley. Literally no game after Stardew Valley, no farming game could ever reach that level. And that's my opinion. I just think Stardew Valley did such a great job revolutionizing the freaking genre that no other game. Because any other game that tries to revolutionize the genre is just going to be called, oh, this Stardew Valley-like game. That is so true. That is so true. It took Stardew Valley takes so much inspiration from games like Harvest Moon, from games like Animal Crossing. It takes inspiration from all of these games, that the fact that Stardew Valley could come in and be like, boom, it's absolutely insane. It just goes to show you, like, when Stardew Valley came out, how starved gamers were for that kind of content. Hey, sheep be lurking around, redeeming a compliment. How's it going? Listen, sheep, you want a compliment? Casual games might be the hardest franchise for hardest genre for indie developers to get into. But if we were to make a game that solely revolves around sheep farming, and all of the sheeps had a certain percentage chance of becoming murder sheeps, and the game was just called Mer Sheep Simulator, I think it'd have a pretty good chance. Wouldn't be like banger indie revolution that Stardew Valley was, but it has a chance. I think a Mer Sheep game would be absolutely good. It'd be 10 out of 10. Maybe 9 out of 10. And you want to roast as well? Well, listen. Who am I kidding? Who's going to buy a game about Mer Sheep? Let's be real here. Get real with yourself. Check yourself, man. Ain't no such thing as a Mership game. Never gonna happen. But it's great to have you here, man. I hope you're having a good week. Run Factory tried to catch that, but it was a Nintendo exclusive. I really do feel like exclusives murder. Not profits. Well, yeah, I feel like they murder profits, and I feel like people only take exclusive deals if they really just want to gain the support of a platform doing the marketing for them. Because if you have an exclusive, then you know for a fact that your game is going to be marketed. That your game is going to get marketed. Because then you're going to have Nintendo itself going, hey, check out this exclusive. Or Sony going, hey, check out this exclusive. But in an age where exclusives are becoming less and less common, I feel like developers are less and less inclined to sign those exclusive deals unless they have a really pretty penny attached to it. Or the corpo owns the IP. That is true. That is true. But if you're a corpo, I don't think you need to care about your game. Actually, you'd think it wouldn't be so hard for a corporation to make a game, but apparently it's hard to listen to people. One of my favorite games I've been playing lately is Core Keeper. Core Keeper. No, I can't. Oh, it's on 40% sale. That's cool. It's on sale. Save $6 on Core Keeper. What is this game about? Endless cavern of creatures, relics, and resources in a mining sandbox for 1 to 8 players. Mine, build, fight, craft, farm to unravel the mystery of the ancient core. First of all, the game looks beautiful. I already love the art style. Like, this pixel art style is absolutely beautiful. We're listening to this. Eight players is a lot of people. The music sounds wonderful. It's an early access. Released 2 years ago. 2-year early access? I mean, the game looks beautiful. It looks like it gets real complex. It has lore. It has story. It has shenanigans. It has pets. That turtle just got taken against its will. Oh, it's supposed to be going in full release this year? Oh, that's awesome. Maybe that's why it's on sale. Because they want to get people into it before, like, they really release. Okay. Wow, I'm gonna put this on my wish list. I say as the game's already on sale. Listen, I don't have money to spend. I didn't tell you guys. I took my car to the mechanic today. Thankfully, it got repaired today. It got repaired today. Because it was having motor problems. Had to repair a few things, so that's $600 I'm not gonna see. Almost $600. So we have to not buy $600 worth of games. Once we resist buying $600 worth of games, then we can continue to keep buying new games. Lord, this game looks really cool. I'll put it on my wish list. I don't know why I opened it in the regular freaking browser. Oh yeah, so you guys, hey, Core Keeper, it's on the front page of Steam. Would you look at that? All right, I'll add it to my wish list. It's on my wish list. You got me. And to be fair, it looks like the kind of game that my girlfriend, would love. You don't have you're right. Don't buy $600 worth of games. Buy $800. All right, cultist, I am hacking your wallet as we speak. I am hacking into your wallet. I am taking your money. I'm going to... What's better than spending $800 worth of games? Spending someone else's $800 on video games. There you go. There you go, buddy. Anyway, so it turns out the most profitable genres for indie games are RPG, strategy, and simulation. RPG, then I guess that completely makes sense as to why people ate up Baldur's Gate. But you know what? You know what is also strategy? Untitled Goose Game is also on sale. That's simulation. And apparently simulation
What do you want to
is
tell
pretty
Joe
easy to get
Biden
into.
right now?
What's up, baby? Take me out to dinner.
Hey, yo.
Hey, yo, Elvin, how's it going? We've been discussing game design, kind of looking into one of the game design documents I want to get started on, which is Robotanist, which is the game I want to develop inspired by Plants vs. Zombies, which is a like base defense game. But I didn't even explain the main mechanic that's gonna like make Robotanist like stand out from Plants vs. Zombies. Because usually, if you really want to make sure your game is inspired but not like plagiarizing a game, you want to have a mechanic that really makes your game stand out. And the main gameplay mechanic that I want Robotanist to be is that, you know how in Plants vs. Zombies, you defend your lawn, you have your house, and you defend your lawn, and that's it. In Robotanist, I want since you're gonna have a traveling base that you go from location to location, I want the base to have 4 sides. And I want you to have to defend all 4 sides at the same time. That's the main mechanic. Imagine Plants vs. Zombies, but instead of defending your backyard, you're defending all 4 sides of your house at the same time. And you have to like rotate your house, like as you just plant in the back garden, rotate. Okay, oh wait a minute, you're getting a horde on the front lawn, you gotta rotate. That's the main mechanic that I want like Robotanist to absolutely say, like, hey, listen, this is what makes this game unique over Plants vs. Zombies. But anyways, so yeah, we've just been discussing indie games, discussing game development, discussing game documents, discussing games. And we were talking about, I stumbled upon this article that talks about how, this article that uses a lot of statistics from videogameinsights.com. And apparently it discusses like what are the most profitable genres for indie games, like based on 21,000 indie games that they looked at. It talks about the average income of indie games that are like self-published on Steam, and how 50% of them make less than $4,000, but like 25% of them had made 25,000, and 14% of them have made almost $100,000. Like, it's fascinating how there are so many details that go into the production of a video game that people can easily forget about the details that go into the publishing of a video game, because it doesn't matter just how well made your game is. If you do not know how to market and publish a game, then it's just straight up dead in the water. So I was looking, I was looking now at the most profitable genres, but wait, this also talks about the monetization models. Indie game, now everything's about monetization, and that's one thing I know people hate. And honestly, I kind of hate it too. If I get a game, I just kind of want the game, and that's it. I don't really want to buy the game in pieces. Oh, you've enjoyed part A of the game. If you want to enjoy the rest, now you've got to buy part B and part C and DLC and all this stuff. And I'm like, listen, I think I'm a big enjoyer of buying a game and owning that game. You get a game and you have the whole game. That's it. You can enjoy the game and the whole experience for what it is. And eventually, once you've like enjoyed that experience, if people enjoyed that experience enough and they're like, wow, I'd love to like keep playing more of this, and at that point, I could understand the developers designing DLC. Like, hey, listen, here, you've enjoyed that game so much, we've produced a new chunk of game, and if it's considerably more than the base game, then sure, here you can buy our hard work for this extra like additional content. There you go, enjoy it. But if it's like not big enough to merit its own like chunk of purchasable DLC, a lot of developers nowadays are getting into habit of adding free DLC. You know what? One developer, freaking I don't remember the name, but Cult of the Lamb. Cult of the Lamb has has had what I think like 3 DLC updates, all of which have been completely free, and they're just like part of the base game. They're like, hey, listen, we've added new content that I think you're gonna like, and it just adds to the gameplay experience. So you don't actually have to go out of your way and purchase it. When the developers themselves recognize this is just something that really adds to the experience. It's not something that should be considered its own standalone experience, or else it really wouldn't stand up or hold up or be worth the money. Because I think when developers start to worry too much about the money, they kind of lose sight of what makes the game good in the first place. And I think that's become the big struggle of AAA studios. AAA studios that are only merely focused on producing, okay, what game we need to make some money. We need to make some money. What game will make us some money? And I think that's why Nintendo is like produces so very few games comparatively with the other big AAA companies, but every time they produce them, they're consistently good. Because even though, sure, Nintendo is a profit oriented company like any other company in the world, I think Nintendo also takes very, very great care with their IPs. So, as I was saying, I feel like monetization has become a very controversial topic in the world of gaming. But I think it's very simple. If it's a free-to-play game, then obviously you're gonna expect the developers to put in some in-app purchases. That way, they can actually sustain their game. They've given you an experience that it's free to get into, but they're gonna monetize in some way, shape, or form. That's like the danger of a free-to-play game. You gotta really be sure of what you're putting in that game to really pull gamers in. And free-to-play games can be like very predatory. And I don't know. I just don't like the idea of free-to-play games in general. So that's what made me more surprised that I was just so in love with VHS. Every day, any excuse I can get to flip VHS into a conversation, you'll see me do it. Nintendo relies of them a little too much, though, in my opinion. I'd like to see some new ideas from them. I've also said that for a few years. Alvin, one of okay. Nintendo is very, very, very protective of its intellectual properties. And it being so protective of its intellectual properties does indeed release them, like push them to release high quality products. I think that's. I haven't played. I don't have a Nintendo console. I haven't had one in years. But I've heard like Super Mario Wonder was awesome. I've heard Super Mario Wonder or whatever it's called, Mario Wonder. I've heard it's like the best Mario game in years. I've heard really, really good things about Mario Wonder. And I'm like, you know what? That's nice. That's awesome. I'm glad Nintendo like protects their IPs and takes care of them and treats them with care to produce consistent bangers. It's not often that Nintendo produce for every new Super Mario Bros. And like for every 3 bangers, they tend to produce like a miss. With like, and Mario has been like the franchise to have the most misses. You could make a game like Lethal Company, no microtransactions, no pay to win, but made millions, and that's the thing, because Lethal Company was a game made with a lot of love. Lethal Company was a game made with a lot of love. And to be fair, Lethal Company is not easy. It's you got to be careful when you take examples like Lethal Company, because it's not to say that most of the indie games out there were made without love. Oh, 50% of indie games out there were made without love. But more than love, in my opinion, is marketing. Yeah, that's what I was going for, David. You got to be careful when you take examples like Lethal Company, because Lethal Company exploded because it's called Odyssey. Oh, never mind. Odyssey was the old one. So, Lethal Company exploded because people enjoyed it so much that it exploded through word of mouth. That game exploded in media through word of mouth, and through that word of mouth, it picked up so much steam through content creators. Okay, the thing is, the way Lethal Company's success happened, in my to my understanding, the game leaves early access. It becomes accessible to a larger group of people. They pick it up, they have fun with it. Content creators pick up the game. It explodes among content creators. It explodes. That leads it to explode amount. That leads social media outlets to talk about it, make articles about it. So all it takes is for you to really pop off in one aspect of the social bubble, for all of the other social social circles to really try and pick up on something. if you have like good coverage, like let's say for example you make an indie game and it doesn't really get that much like support, but let's say for example it wins game of the year somehow, even though it like got barely any support, like it somehow won game of the year, then you know immediately news articles are gonna pick up on it, and like news media is gonna up on it. Like, hey, wait a minute, look, this game that sold less than whatever copies won game of the year somehow, blah blah blah, or best indie game of the year, or best indie release, best new release, whatever. You're gonna explode on social media, which is gonna lead you to explode in word of mouth and content creators, and it's also gonna lead you to explode in sales, like that kind of thing. So it's very, you got to know how to market your game as well as make it. And so that's a thin balance. How much do you focus on making your game to make sure it's a product of love and great quality? And how much do you focus on actually marketing your game? Because if you're one person developing a game, if you're 2-3 people developing a game, you got to be really focused and really conscious about where you're spending that time, because time is like the most important resource when developing a game. Super Mario Odyssey was fantastic. Mario Galaxy was fantastic. Freaking so many Mario games have, like 3D World, fantastic. There have been a lot of Mario games that have just like really popped the fuck up. Mario has been like freaking Nintendo's golden goose. Always has been. But I would, going back to what Elvin was saying earlier, and how they wanted to, she would rather they be more experimental. I agree. If, for example, I know Nintendo doesn't really handle the development of Pokemon, but if Game Freak were more experimental with Pokemon instead of rehashing the same game year after year after year, I think they would have met the level of success that Pal World met. Pal World met the level of success that it made, I think mainly through controversy. Oh, this Pokemon clone, it's gonna get sued. Pokemon clone. Yeah, I think it popped off because of controversy. A, but B, because it was so experimental. Power World really did what Game Freak never ventured to do, and Game Freak kind of tried to make something similar to Power World when they made Legends of Arceus. Pokemon Legends of Arceus, where it's like open world, you go out there like rough and tumble with the Pokemon, and even then, Legends of Arceus does not go into the like survival depth that Pal World does. So you can really tell Pal World hit a niche, but it also used that controversy. It went for the controversy to explode on social media outlets, explode on word of mouth, and then it just like knocked it out of the park from there on out. It's very interesting. Partnership, advertising, all these different ways of monetizing your indie games. How to make an indie game successful? That's an excellent question. That's the multi-dollar answer question, huh? The multi-dollar question. How to make a game successful? EA has been asking themselves that very question their whole existence. Blizzard is still asking themselves that question. How to make games successful? How make games successful? Listen. Indie games, video games, all that sort of development can be daunting. It can be daunting. It can be scary. It can be tedious and terrible. I really want to produce Robotanist, my Plants vs. Zombies inspired game. Not just because strategy is one of the top 3 most popular indie game genres, but because I really loved Plants vs. Zombies, and it makes me sad that we have not gotten any solid entries in the Plants vs. Zombies franchise in over a year. And Plants vs. Zombies turns 15 years old this year, and EA is struggling to develop Plants vs. Zombies 3 to no avail because they keep trying to market it and monetize it at the same time. So I feel like I really want to fill a niche that a lot of people would enjoy, but mainly because it's a game that I want to see on the market. I want to see a game do right by Plants vs Zombies and do right by the fans that made Plants vs Zombies the success that it was. Because I don't think Plants vs Zombies was a success because of how well it was made. Because obviously that allowed it to become a success. Plants vs Zombies being a great game allowed it to become a success. But what made it a success was the people who supported it. Because at the end of the day, it doesn't matter what game you produce. Really, it's the people that make or break your game. And not literally, but also literally. They won't make your game, but they'll definitely break it. Well, actually, yeah, modders will definitely make your game, and speedrunners will break the shit out of it. You know what I would love to see one day? I think I'm gonna consider that I made it as a developer if my game has a speedrunning category. If my game gets a speedrunning category, then I'm gonna feel like I made it as a developer. God, imagine seeing someone like speedrunning your video game at at a convention, like at Games Done Quick. Oh, that'd be insane. But yeah, listen, I believe in these little things, and I want to someday see some of you guys playing these little things. We'll turn these little things into great big things. But those things take time, effort, process. So you know what? Lord, this was awesome. This was awesome. This was strange and different. But like all good things, it is time for this stream to come to an end. I'm going to call it here for today. Thank you so much for joining on what was the first of many very strange podcast-like streams where we're going to be taking a look into the world of game development. Today we were talking about like the actual marketing and the game design document aspect of game development. But in the future, these streams are going to be about me programming nonsense, working with Unreal Engine, working with models, watching tutorials, following tutorials. And I have no idea how to feel about this. It's scary. Giving you guys new things is scary. So maybe I'll also like alternate it. Maybe I'll make Tuesdays alternate between, oh, hey, today is a game dev stream and today is like a Let's Play stream. Because only running a playthrough on Sundays means the playthroughs are going to take a while. So I think alternating Tuesdays between game dev streams and Let's Play streams, I think it's a good idea. Maybe it's a bad idea. But whatever idea it is, I know it's going to go great as long as I can count on you guys. So thank you for joining. I hope you guys enjoyed your evening with me. I hope you have a beautiful rest of your night, wherever you may be. I hope you enjoy those Americans out there, I hope daylight savings is gone forever and you enjoy your life without the back and forth of getting your hours switched around. And I hope to see you guys on Thursday for some gaming shenanigans. It won't be Hunt, I promise. We'll play something different. We'll play something maybe new, maybe strange. But it'll be silly, I can guarantee you that. So tune in Thursday for some more silly shit. Hope to see you guys around. My name is Loino. I've done my best to entertain you with my own silliness and shenanigans. And I shall catch you on the flip side. Goodbye, everybody. Drink your 3 meals, eat plenty of water, take care of yourselves, get some sleep, 8 hours or something or nothing. I don't know. Be yourself. Love you guys. Take care. God bless.